Alright, KTC, so weekly update. I've been training so hard. This is the final hour, Sunday afternoon, getting this video out. And for Ironman Arizona people, we are 2 weeks away. You guys have been putting in some awesome work. I'm gonna get the leaderboard in a second. But before I get there, quick important announcement. It is Remembrance Day on Thursday, so there will be no swimming on Thursday. Again, we're gonna add some sessions on during the Christmas break holidays to make up for some of these. But anyway, Thursday morning, enjoy your time off. The pool is open 9 to 5. I am going to throw in a different workout into Training Peaks that isn't just a continuous swim, so I'll give you a little bit more structure if you do want to go hit a workout on your own. But please don't show up at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. or even 11:45. That's not so bad, I guess. You could go swimming because we will not be swimming that day. Other than that, I will let you know that in 2 weeks' time, there is a swim meet on the weekend. Actually, the weekend we are, or I am down in Arizona. A bunch of us are down in Arizona. So conveniently enough for at least me anyways, there will be no swimming on that Saturday. There will be Tuesday, Thursdays, and either we'll have a sub coach coming in, or worst case scenario, you'll have to do the workout yourself. But hopefully we can find somebody to come in and yell and scream at you, take my place. Anyway, looking at the leaderboard, big congratulations, Darren, peeking out for Ironman here. So 20 hours, 35 minutes, killer volume, man. Well done. I was just behind you there, 1955, and Julie, awesome job as well. I'm guessing, yep, Troy, 16 hours. Pat, nicely done, training for marathon, 15:27. Dale, heading down to Arizona, 14:25. You can see a theme here. Sorry, Vanessa, I know you were sick last week. But obviously, there's a time and a place to peak out this type of volume. For most of us, this is not the time or the place, but for all the, I said, late season racing here, here we are. We're at the doorstep. So hopefully it is starting to taper down a little bit, and the whole goal now, you can't get any more fit, any more faster. It's all about recovering and feeling good. Now, I am going to do a little race strategy video on the tail end of this, so if you want to stick around for that, anyone doing Ironman Arizona, got a couple tips or tricks you may want to consider that will make you faster, not by fitness, but just racing smarter. So I am going to, as I said, do that at the end here. In terms of total distance, I got that one, then Darren, then Julie. Well, there's a theme here. In terms of time swimming last week, Julie, nicely done. 4:49, followed by Darren and myself. So nice work there. Ride time, Darren crushed it, and myself and Julie. And then this week, or sorry, not this week, run time, that would be Pat. My phone's going off, of course. It's my grandma. I'm gonna have to call her back. She'll kill me if I just swipe and cancel it. Anyway, moving on to, yes, racing tips. So, Ironman Arizona, a couple things just to consider. The morning prep. Hopefully, leading up, you have fueled well. You have spent the day before. That's probably the most important in terms of have a really good hearty breakfast and, you know, really fill up those glycogen stores even 2 days before, you know, all nutritious food, obviously. And then you can start to taper it off during the day, so you're not going, you know, don't go out and eat a huge pasta meal or pizza or whatever. Don't overeat the night before, because you're still going to be feeling a little sluggish from that. So good breakfast, good lunch, you know, start to taper it. You're still going to have dinner and a, you know, solid dinner, but don't overeat. Once you've done that as well the day before, really focus on that hydration, take in lots of sport drink, the electrolytes, top everything up. Again, don't overdrink, but you know, make sure that you're hydrated. And that should set you up really well. So you should wake up that race morning with topped up glycogen stores, which means you don't have to go too crazy on the breakfast either. Just again, something simple, whatever you typically eat, don't do anything new. And again, you don't have to have, you know, a massive bowl of oatmeal, because you're going to spend the first couple hours of the race trying to digest that, and it's going to zap your energy because it's you're diverting so much blood and energy to digesting that big breakfast. So I know it's a long day, but again, you should be going in topped up, and then it's just about maintaining. So when you do wake up, again, like I said, don't overeat, don't drink too much coffee. I'm a big coffee drinker in the morning, but trust me, if you drink too much of it, you are going to be urinating way too frequently, and that's going to be a pain in the butt. Hydrate with sport drinks. So usually one sport drink bottle in the morning should be good. Again, you may have to go to the washroom once or twice. Hopefully that is enough. You can, you know, spend some time in the water going to the washroom if you can swim and pee. But once you hit the bike, you know, typically, if you're going to the washroom once or twice during the ride, that's kind of perfect. If you're not going at all, you may be, you know, right on the edge there. And if you're going more frequently, you definitely might want to, you know, adjust your hydration strategy. You don't want to be stopping every or peeing on your bike every 10-15 minutes. So that Hydrate with sport drink, that should, again, keep those glycogen stores topped up, put you ahead so that when you do hit the water, because you are going to be going an hour plus without being able to hydrate or take in any calories from the work that you're doing. So even a gel before the swim, not a bad idea. Again, you're just putting yourself ahead of the game. Yeah, don't forget your nutrition. So when you leave the house, I don't know how many people I've seen do this, myself included, where I have to pull a U-turn because all my bottles are still in the fridge. So bring all your bottles. Don't forget your nutrition. I know you're probably preparing them the night before. I'd recommend preparing them the night before, because that usually takes longer than you ever think. But again, don't forget them. Give yourself extra time. It is a really easy race site to get to. But you never know what traffic's going to be like. There's lots of parking garages. I think there's 2 or 3 parkades, as well as a number of parking areas, which I recall to be free. If they're paid, it wasn't even that expensive either. The parking garage might be paid. But anyway, you don't have to walk that far. You don't have to take any shuttle buses. So that's really nice. But again, it's nice to not have to feel rushed or stressed about that. Just stress about your long day to come. We want to keep that arousal level at a minimum so that you're not expending too much energy being all worked up from having to rush. So that's the extra time. It is a dark transition. I found there are some lights, but if you're not in the vicinity of those lights, the transition area can be really dark in some spots. So I was in like dead dark where I could barely see anything. So if you do have a headlamp, or bring your phone with you with a flashlight, that will help you just do a little bike check, make sure your tires are pumped to the right pressure, etc., etc. That's the next point. Obviously, you do want to make sure you pump up the tires that night. You will lose some PSI overnight, so make sure that that's dialed. It is a bumpier course. There are some potholes. You may not want to be up to max PSI. I'll be running around 100, some around there. That way it absorbs some of the road vibrations, because 180K, that's a long time to be bounced around. So don't think that the higher the pressure, the faster you're going to go. The higher the pressure, definitely the more uncomfortable ride you're going to have. So find that happy middle. Obviously, if you're a little bigger, heavier rider, you need a little more PSI. If you're a little lighter, you can get away with less. So hopefully you can dial that in. Hey, baby. Yeah.
I was blowing up a balloon by myself.
Good job, and you got it all blown up. Lung capacity, incredibly important. Good training. It is a little bit of a walk to the swim start. So again, you don't want to dilly-dally too long, as well as it's a rolling start. So you do want to get down there, make sure you get slotted in with the right pace time. Basically, there'll be a bunch of people holding up your estimated swim finish time. So someone, be under an hour and you stand with them, or an hour 5, hour 10. I would recommend seating yourself a little quicker than your actual ability, and that way you might be able to get on some really good feet, hold on, and get a really good pull around the course. If you can do that, you're going to be way faster. So if you can find a great draft, great. A couple of ways I like to do that is if I'm swimming with a group of swimmers, I'll swim beside somebody. If I'm not pulling away and we're swimming stroke for stroke the same pace, I'll tuck in and just enjoy a nice, easy swim. Or best case scenario, they're swimming faster than you. So another reason to seat yourself up a little bit, that if someone's kind of going by you, get on their feet. And if you can work at the same intensity and stay on their feet, you can be confident that you're actually swimming a lot faster than you would just on your own. It's always going to be faster to draft than it is to take the straight line. Now, that being said, you can't be all over the river, but it is a really straightforward swim. It's pretty much a rectangle. You'll swim upstream a bit, and again, the current's not very much, but I'm actually jumping ahead to the swim stuff here. Let me flip the thing here. Just say, don't also forget to pack a post-race gear. So some warm clothes, comfortable stuff to wear around when you're done. So anyway, going back to the swim. And now I'm all the way jumped to the end here, but it will be dark. I'll get back to the whole drafting thing in a second. It will be dark. You won't have a swim warm up. So I do recommend do some good activation, get the blood flowing, do whole body activation. So just not arm swings, do some squats, some lunges, some jumping jacks, get the heart rate up, get the blood flowing, and hopefully your arms won't feel like garbage after about 2 minutes of being in the anaerobic intensity because you went out too fast, which you probably will. Trying to find your draft. It is a rolling start, so again, seating yourself a little bit quicker, and as I said, if you can find those feet, great. You definitely want to make sure, like I said, people aren't swimming all over the place, but if there's a little zigzagging going on, that's all good. If it gets annoying and you can find another pair of feet that's swimming dead straight, that's great. People who kick, who create a lot of bubbles, those are excellent people to follow, because then you don't have to look up as much. You just have to follow the bubbles. And as I said, it's pretty straightforward. You got a nice rectangle, a little bit upstream, which again, there's not much of a current. And then you cut across and then all the way down, and you're going downstream quite a ways, way past transition. So there is quite a run back, which I'll talk about in a second. But again, if you can pick up the feet of one swimmer, if you get a group, that is amazing. If you can get 2 swimmers side by side with you tucked in between, mwah. But as I said, it's a super long day, and if you can save energy by swimming at your 70% effort at the pace you would typically swim alone, that's awesome energy savings. If you're swimming at 100% effort but getting pulled along a lot quicker, you're going to have a fantastic swim time, and it will pay dividends getting out on that bike course early, because the quicker you can get out on the bike course, the more time you can spend on it before it gets crazy congested, which it will, and I'll talk about that in a second too. So again, minimal current, expect really cold water. If it does shock you to get into the water, get in slowly. Expect when it hits your face, don't panic. That tends to stimulate a little bit of hyperventilation. Just calm, ease into it. And again, your face will eventually go numb and you'll be fine. It's not that cold. It might be. We'll see. Again, easy to sight. You're always going to be fairly close to shore the way the course goes, because it's in a river, so not too bad there, but the water is really murky. So in terms of drafting, again, when you got bubbles to follow, that's great, because as soon as your hand enters the water, it's gone. You're not going to be able to see, this far in front of you. That's how murky it is. Or at least that's how it was in 2019. Maybe with COVID and all the pollution gone now, it'll be perfect. Probably not. And then there is a huge run back into transition, at least 800 meters, if not a kilometer long. It feels like forever. And you can make up a ton of time if you don't dilly-dally and just kind of jog it. So work there, and you can pick up a lot of places, again, if you hustle. Now, that being said, keep in mind your heart rate's going to go right up, and you will have to pay attention to that and try to bring it back down as you get onto the bike, because the bike is going to be all about fueling and just settling in. First bit's nice and flat. There will be a gradual uphill as you get to the turnaround. That uphill is incredibly beneficial, which I'm going to talk to in a second. But if you can ride aero as much as possible, you know, watts are important, but aero is even more important. And going a little bit easier will allow better digestion, so that fueling strategy. And you may be going the same speed if you're able to hold that aero position. Now, if you haven't been riding on the trainer in aero very much, this will be incredibly difficult. And you may find by lap number 2 or 3, especially when it gets congested and you really have to keep your head up and be watching for people all the time, because literally people will be riding 2, 3 wide. People are going to be passing all over the place. It is an absolute shit show. So enjoy the first lap. And that's why I say, if you can get onto the course as early as possible, lap number 1, maybe even half of lap number 2 won't be too bad. And then lap number, 2.5 and 3 just get really congested. So careful there. And of course, riders of all speeds, changing, passing, keep your head up. Be careful with that. I'll also say that the road, this is a point later on, the road closer to town is, at least unless they fixed all the potholes, there were a couple really big potholes, some good bumps. Pay attention to your water bottles, especially if you've got the water bottles hanging out the back. Make sure that they stay on. But keep an eye out for those, because there are some big enough to knock you off the bike. So be aware of that. Other than that, so riding out as the elevation starts to pick up, and again, it will the grade will gradually come up the farther out you go. That's where you're probably going to make up the most time, or make the most time by putting power into the pedals. So that's when I'd be working the hardest in terms of intensity or power output. Once you hit the turnaround, and actually before you hit the turnaround, just as it's kind of peaking out, those are perfect times to either sit up or stand up, stretch the back out. So use those turnaround points. Use the uphill grade a bit, or any of the corners. Now, the corners, most of them you can hit full speed and aero and have no problem, depending on how congested it is, of course. But use those opportunities to get out of aero position and stretch the back out and just loosen up a little bit, because staying in aero for that long is incredibly painful. And you don't want to break your aero position as you complete the turnaround and you're going downhill. So take your nutrition in, again, stretch out, get everything taken care of before that far turnaround. And then when you're screaming back at speed, and you may rev out your big chain ring. And again, that would allow you to just kind of soft pedal, relax a little bit. Again, get as aero as possible, because this is where you're going to really make up some time and not have to work very hard for it if you're maintaining that position. But if you're riding downhill, sitting up, drinking your water, doing all that kind of stuff, you're going to lose way more time than if you would take care of it on the way uphill. So when you do hit the bike, start getting your nutrition in ASAP. You should still be ahead of the game even after the swim. But again, you want to get on top of that and keep it nice and consistent. Set that alarm on your watch or on your bike computer to remind you every 10-15 minutes to be consuming, or again, nail the plan. I already talked about the congestion. You will have the opportunity, again, probably on that first loop, to be able to look up the road, at least when the road's in good condition. Usually after you've made all the little zigzags and you're out of town, it's pretty good pavement. So you can do the look up and then tuck the head back down and feel confident you're not going to run into any potholes or people. But again, safety first. So enjoy that first loop. I already talked about standing and stretching, and again, you can just that strategy alone and choosing the right points to do it will save you probably minutes on this course. Now, there may come a time like on the 3rd lap where you just can't be an aero anymore, and I mean, it is what it is, but trust me, you're going to be faster with less power on the pedals in that aero position than you will be sitting up out of the saddle and powering away. Talked about the potholes, and there is a dump on the way out, and I will say the first lap is like, oh, this smells terrible, and then on the 3rd lap I could not wait for that dump smell, because that meant I was almost on the bike course. So if anything sticks with you, you may very well look forward to that dump smell as you get deeper and deeper into the bike. So the run is nice and flat. There is a small hill. If you can't run fast up that hill, that might be a perfect opportunity to walk and take in nutrition. Careful on the downhill though. I mean, it's a quad burner, so get the cadence up and try not to take too much of a beating. That's really the only hill. Other than that, you got a little bit of undulation and lots of different surfaces. So you will have concrete, asphalt, and a little bit of dirt path, and again, it's quite a forgiving and nice run course. Definitely run comfortable to start. Eventually that comfortable pace will be almost impossible to hold, so start easy. If you hit the halfway point and you're still feeling good, keep it there, because once you hit 30K, then reality might really, you know, hit you. So it's better to run nice and steady than blow it all up in the first 10K, and then you're doing 30K of walk run, trying just to survive and get to the finish. Trust me. Don't hesitate to walk those aid stations. Again, take in the fuel. If you're bringing your own fuel, I may bring my fuel belt if it's really hot, because I find those aid stations aren't close enough together from when I really want to drink. So I may do that. If it's a little cooler like it was last time, I'll probably just rely on course. It is Gatorade Endurance, so make sure that you've I know we can't really, you can order it in, but I mean, it's too late now. If you've used the orange Gatorade that you can buy here, it's basically the same taste. So anyway, and the Morton gels, which I've been training with myself and absolutely love them. So really good gels on the course. But anyway, don't hesitate to walk those. Make sure you get in your nutrition. And if you eventually are playing the game of just hopping aid station to aid station, or island hopping, that is a perfectly acceptable strategy. Expect there's going to be lots of walking out there. Break up the run into small, manageable chunks. Sometimes it's really, especially as you start to fatigue, it's daunting to think, oh my god, I got 30 more kilometers left. So there are little segments. It is a 2-loop run, so you'll be able to get very comfortable with those segments. Use that especially on the second loop. Okay, I just got to get to the bridge. Okay, now I got to get over the bridge. It's a long bridge. Okay, now I got to get down to the other, out and back, or I got to get over the hill. So again, really small segments, just, focus on completing those and it'll be done before you know it. The other thing you do is focus on time running as well, and sometimes that keeps you honest if you've been training with time as opposed to distance, if that's familiar with you, knowing what you've been doing on your watch and whatnot. And then just really stay on top of the fueling and the electrolytes, especially if it's warm. Make sure you're taking in the sodium, and I got to check the weather report. I'm not too sure what it's looking like right now. Again, it was pretty moderate in 2019, and that might be the case, but a few days before was a little warmer. Regardless, we haven't been doing much heat training unless you have been running with or cycling in some warmer gear or anything like that. But again, stay on top of that. And I will say, don't mix, if this is a mistake I've made in the past as well, don't mix any MCT oil and carbohydrates. Any fats and carbohydrates will conflict with one another. So on your fueling strategy, if you're on a ketogenic diet, great. Stay there and fuel with the fats. If you are not on a ketogenic diet, stay with the carbohydrates. All the fats are going to do is shut your stomach down. So that is it for a couple race tips or tricks. If you do have any questions at any point, feel free, shoot them to me. You want to have a chat, catch me on deck, or shoot me an email, and we can talk about more little ins and outs, little tips or tricks on the race day. There are still a number of COVID unknowns that I'm not too sure about in terms of change tents and how transitions might look and be different, but I'm sure I can read the athlete guide a little closer, as I haven't done that yet, as well as there'll be some athlete briefings, which I'm sure they'll cover a whole bunch of stuff as well. So other than that, there is a couple race strategy tips for Ironman Arizona. Until next time, we'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.